Excuse me, who are you? Excuse me, who are you?
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2.
Hello everyone, welcome to Kill the Cast. My name is Jerry, and with me is the Silent Hill biker himself, Kenneth.
Yay!
We are all excited. Jay could unfortunately not make this episode, but he gave us the blessing to go ahead and record this. So today we're getting into anime double feature. But before we get into that, Kenneth, how has your week been?
It's been all right. Just got a lot of personal stuff going on, but other than that, it's pretty good. I fought with myself whether I want to go see Birth of the Dragon or not. That new Bruce Lee movie. Well, movie based on Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah, where he like fights his old master or some shit. I saw some trailer for it.
I think it's like another one of those how he got, one of those come up videos or something.
But it's literally like his old master is pissed that he's teaching white people like martial arts. That's what I gathered.
I don't know, but I wanted to go see it, and then I was just like, I really got to thinking about it, and I was like, man, I'll just fucking wait on this shit to come out on Blu-ray, because I'll probably buy it anyway, so I might as well just wait on it to come out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, plus it's so hard for me to get to the theaters nowadays. Like, I almost have to like schedule the day off to go see a fucking movie. Like, I just requested off like to go see the Suspiria when it comes back in theaters. I was like, fuck it, let me go ahead and put this request off so I can go see that. But like, because I didn't see Spider-Man Homecoming, I wanted to. I didn't see the new Planet of the Apes movie like I wanted to. Hell,
I ain't even seen the second new Planet of the Apes. I've only seen the first one with James Franco in it.
It's good. I think I like the second one better than the first one, and I have a feeling I'm gonna like the third one even more than the second one.
Well, see, you've got the second one on your Vudu, and you don't have the first one. And I want to watch because I only watched the first one once, so I want to watch the first one before I watch the second one to kind of revamp.
Oh yeah,
and
I don't think I
just
own
don't.
The first one.
You don't, and I just don't feel like wasting my Vudu credit to watch that. I'd rather watch something else.
Yeah, I know. I remember I bought the second one when it came out on Blu-ray because I had finally watched the first one, but I had never. And I watched the first one. I think Reese might have a DVD of it or something because I'm pretty sure I watched it because of her. I'm not sure.
Well, if she's got, check and see, because if she does, just rip it for me so that way I can watch it.
I mean, not rip it, send it to him legally through the mail because there's a difference.
Whatever. And
that was for the NSA.
Yeah. But they've got this cool, at Walmart I saw, and I don't know if you've seen it, but they got a cool box set of the original ones, like a collector's edition box set of the original. Do you?
Yeah, I have that on Blu-ray.
Did it come with digital copies?
Not if it's the same one I have, which is like in a red and tan box.
Yeah. They just put it out recently because the new movie came out?
Oh, no, I've had mine for 2-3 years.
Okay, they just put out a newer version of it.
Okay.
Because the new movie was coming out. Like, if you bought it, you got a movie ticket for the new one.
Oh, yeah, it might just be reprinting of the old one or old stock they just rewrapped and put out.
Maybe. Well, but if that were the case, it wouldn't have a movie ticket for the new movie in it.
Well, they would if they rewrapped it.
Well, that's true.
So, all right. Well, that's dope. What have I been? I've been listening to. I went through and I listened to a bunch of new podcasts that I had never listened to try to see if there's some more stuff out there that I haven't hit. I did this interesting one called "The Witch versus the Doomsday Clock," which are like 25-minute long podcast, and it's just him kind of reviewing one movie, but it's more of like him. It's all set in this like world that's already been destroyed. It's like he calls it like the found footage version of podcast, and it's very interesting. I ran through like 2 or 3 episodes of that, and it was really cool. But I will say you do need to kind of see the movie he's talking about before he reviews it, because he doesn't really review it as much as like ask a bunch of questions that are slightly making fun of the movie. And that was pretty good. I listened to the Hail Ming Power Hour, and I listened to Nightbreed, their version of Nightbreed, which was really good, and it makes me want to go back and watch Nightbreed again to catch some of the stuff they were talking about that I clearly missed.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to do with that movie.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have been listening to a shit ton of the podcast Under the Stairs, specifically the Baz v Horror series. Now, Kenneth, this series is actually really good. It would be like if you and I got together and took a buddy that we have that does not watch horror and started making him watch horror and review it, but he's Scottish and he goes on some of the greatest rants in the world. It is some of the funniest shit. Like they just did a Takashi Miike episode, and he had to watch One Missed Call and Audition.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was fantastic. You have Duncan McLeish, who is the main host of Podcast on the Stairs, and the Baz, who is the guy who has not watched a lot of horror, and they've been doing this for like 2-3 years now, so he's starting to get a little bit more versed in horror. But still, some of the shit he says in the review of Audition is some of the funniest fucking things I've ever heard. I'm always just dying laughing listening to that. So listeners, check out the podcast Under the Stairs. Check out the Baz v Horror episodes because holy shit are they fantastic. And that's pretty much all I've been doing. I ordered a bunch of Japanese movies again. So there's that, but they haven't come in yet. So that's all I've been doing. So with that said, today is Sunday, August 27th, and Kenneth, we woke up to some really sad news. It seems that Tobe Hooper has died.
Sucks.
And the first thing I thought, because I don't know if you remember this, like less than a month ago, he was in the news because like his girlfriend or something was beating him. Like he had to call the cops on his girlfriend for hitting him, and I was like, oh shit, she fucking killed him. But that does not seem to be the case.
No, but the article that I read, it said that it said that the causes of death were not known. I don't know if you read a different one that they were there.
No, but if it would have been like murder, I'm pretty sure they would have
all over the place.
Yeah, they would have been like Texas Chainsaw Massacre director gets a chainsaw to his wife.
Yeah, it would have been some shit like that, and then the media would have took it and used that against horror movies and all this other kind of bullshit.
Yeah. So
it would have just spiraled in a whole bunch of fucking propaganda.
Yeah.
But I mean, it sucks, man, because it's like I was telling you when we kind of text back and forth before we started doing the podcast. It's like we're just kind of watching all of our greats just kind of drop off, and it sucks, but it's reality because all of our greats are shit. Really pushing the limits of age, you know what I mean? Like Wes Craven and George Romero and Tobe Hooper and others that I haven't named. So, I mean, it's just, and it's sad.
And it's like I told you in text, I was like, once they hit 70, it's just a waiting game.
Right. And it's sad, man, because, while granted, nowadays, a lot of people are making good stuff. And I'll give credit to a lot of these young guys that are coming out and making good movies. It's still not the same to me just because these guys that are dropping off are the ones that I grew up with. I mean, I'll still give credit to the new ones, but I mean, and then on top of that, you think about some of these other directors that they've already put out that they're wanting to do this and they're wanting to do that, like Ridley Scott, man. Look at how far he's wanting to go with the Alien movies. It would suck if he died right in the middle of that.
Yeah, because the same thing with George R.R. Martin and writing Game of Thrones. Like, dude, you're not in that great of health. You need to get on this. In fact, can someone just find the secret to immortality so we can at least get John Carpenter and Stephen King protected? Right.
Yeah, because once that goes, man, I mean, that's just. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I think the people that are the founders of horror for what we know it is today are leaving us.
Yeah,
it's like we're starting. It's starting to become to where we're paying homage to our ancestors in this genre.
Yeah, because the 70s really felt like the birth of the modern era of horror, and so the late 70s, early 80s, where a lot of these greats like came about, and unfortunately, yeah, it's time for them to go. It's knocking on death's door. I'm still surprised Stan Lee's still kicking.
I don't think he's ever going to go.
I mean, I don't know. His wife just died a little bit ago.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you take him and Hugh Hefner, man. I mean, shit.
That's true. I don't know, but so Kenneth, what's besides Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Besides that classic, what's your favorite like Tobe Hooper movie?
You know, I would have to go and I would have to say it'd probably be Poltergeist, but at the same time, I don't know whether he really directed Poltergeist or whether it was Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg directed it. There was an article that came out not too long ago where it was finally like said Steven Spielberg directed it because he couldn't direct it because of some Directors Guild strike or some shit, and so Tobe Hooper was brought on, but Tobe Hooper knew what was going on and let Stephen King direct it. And Tobe Hooper pretty much just sat back, and he did work on the film, but he got paid a lot of money to let Stephen King do it. I mean, not Stephen King, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, that's what I'm. So that used to be, you know, my second, and then, you know, after I heard that, I was just like, well, you know, and so going past that, I would probably have to say I enjoyed The Mangler. Did you ever watch The Mangler?
No, I haven't, but I did just hear someone talking about that movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That one was pretty good. I'm one of those people that actually had fun with Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. You know, I'm not one of those people that'll sit there and completely fucking dog it. Did you ever see Mortuary?
No, I haven't seen that either.
That one was good. I didn't really care for Toolbox Murders too much. And then I can't really remember any of the others.
So mine's definitely Salem's Lot. I love the story of Salem's Lot. I love the book, and I think his adaptation was actually pretty good. A little slow, but still really, really good. And I watched his movie last year, Eaten Alive, which is not a good name for that movie because the alligator does not do as much as you would think. But it's still a fun movie, but it's not as good as I thought. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Besides Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I feel like most of everything else he's done is pretty mediocre.
Well, I think a couple of them didn't get the credit that it was due. Like I said, Mortuary was pretty good. You know, you should watch that if you ever get a chance. But you know, it didn't. I honestly think that what happened is when Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 came out, and it didn't have it. While it still had popularity, it didn't have the kick that the first one had. You know, because all the humor that was in the first one was, in my opinion, more subliminal than it was right out in your face.
Yes.
You know, versus Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, where the humor was literally in your face.
Yeah, it felt like a parody.
Right. It felt like a parody of itself. So, you know, I honestly think that's what did him in. I think that's what did him in. If he'd have made the second one with hiding the humor like he did in the first one, so, you know, because when you go back and you watch it, and you watch the first one, the common everyday person is not going to find the humor that sickos like we are would find in that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I think that's the reason why it did so well, and it's known as one of the scariest movies of all time, is because, you know, the common everyday audience did not find that movie funny.
Yeah, and I also want to say, like, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like, the art of that movie is so good. Like, how raw that movie is fantastic. Like, just the aesthetic of that movie is absolutely wonderful. Because I love the aesthetic of some of these older, especially in the 70s with, like, Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes. Like, they have the same kind of aesthetic that Texas Chainsaw Massacre has, where everything looks so raw that it's just fantastic.
Right, and I think in that movie, Tobe Hooper's camera angles were really, really good. The way he went about it, the way that he tried to narrate the feeling of the victims, I thought was really good. And then I also think that on top of that, I mean, you got the product of the times with that particular movie and others that are like that, like you were saying. I mean, that grainy look, when the cameras that they had and things like that. I mean, you really couldn't do the things that you do now, where you can get into the editing room and you can completely change the tone of the movie with a few clicks of the mouse. Versus back then, everything had to be raw because it was.
Yeah, there wasn't that much you could fix in post-production.
Right. Versus, like big time movies that had big money back in the 70s, the early 70s or whatever, they could utilize the money that they had to create the ambiance, like The Exorcist or something like that, where they could create the atmosphere, versus a movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre that was really low budget. So the only thing they could do is throw shit in there in the, in the set and whatever to make it look more creepy. But the camera itself made it look like this was in reality. And to me, that's almost the reason why me and you've had that conversation before of why Ash versus Evil Dead does not appeal to me as much as the old school Evil Dead movies.
Yeah,
is because the new one looks too clean and crisp.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And it doesn't have the same feel to me that the originals did, because the originals were so grainy and everything, and that's the reason why I don't dig it. I mean, it's still a good show and it's funny to watch, and I mean it's amazing having Ash back at it again. But the point is that it doesn't give me that same, that the original ones did, and it goes the same way with other movies that came out during that time period. It doesn't give me the same feeling as those do. And I also think that's part of the reason why these guys that we're watching drop off have such a foothold in horror history, because like we've talked about, like with Tobe Hooper or Wes Craven or John Carpenter, or all these, you look at all these great movies that started the genre, and the reason why they did is because they were so helmed in realism.
Yeah, no, I agree. They not only did a lot of them start, like if you look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Last House on the Left and like Halloween, they have an air of realism to them. They have that rawness, that graininess you were talking about. And they were writing the tropes that would become what the future generation used, that we would eventually be like, oh, that's cliche. They were creating them.
Right.
And so it just made a wonderful thing. And
it was a perfect time in cinema history for these guys to be doing what they were doing.
Yes, 100% agree. And we lost Tobe Hooper today. Who knows who's next? But we'll always have their legacies, because we'll always be able to put on Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's right. I have the Steelbook Special Edition.
I've got one of the Blu-ray versions. There's multiple Blu-ray versions, but it's fantastic. I love watching that movie because it's so good. That movie never feels boring to me. It always is interesting to look at. So, with that being said, we're gonna say goodbye, Tobe Hooper, and we are gonna move on into our next segment, which is Kenneth. We're doing a double anime feature. One of the few. This is probably like the first time we reviewed. No, we reviewed two movies once. We did The Prowler and The Witch. But The Witch was more of a conversation than a review. But nonetheless, we're doing two movies. We're doing Wicked City and Perfect Blue. And we chose these two movies because we wanted to show a lot of horror fans do not watch anime for multiple reasons. Either they don't like cartoons, they think it's kid stuff, they think it's, magical girl or guy is going to be the very best fighter he possibly can be while being lazy or some shit storyline like that. And we're here to tell you that's not always true. There's anime horror out there that is beyond fantastic. And tonight we're going to tackle two of those. We're going to tackle Wicked City, which is more along the lines of your creature feature monster horror movie, so to speak. And we're going to tackle Perfect Blue, which is a deep psychological thriller. And with that, I want to say, if you've never watched anime, I dropped links to these in the Kill the Cast Facebook group, so you could download and watch them. They are also both on YouTube currently at this moment, and you can watch them on there.
And they do have English dubs on YouTube for those of you out there that don't like watching stuff with subtitles.
Yeah, and I will say, Perfect Blue is I prefer the dub to that one just because there's so much going on that you really need to be paying attention. As where Wicked City, I prefer a dub on that also just because it's a popcorn film. I want to sit back, kick back, and just watch shit go down.
Right, and when it comes down to it, I mean, I'm one of those people where I have to be in the mood to sit and read a movie.
Yes, very much so.
It's not that I don't like watching movies that are subtitled. That doesn't bother me at all. I've watched many a movie that is subtitled. But the point is that sometimes you just, like Jerry said, just want to sit back and look at the TV and not have to worry about going down to the bottom and then back up, down to the bottom and then back up. But I did find out that when I was watching Wicked City, it's subtitled. I found out that on the PlayStation, you can customize your closed captioning on the PS4.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, like I changed the color, the font. I changed the background color for when it pops up, everything.
Well, that file is an MKV file, and a lot of MKV files, the ones that can be read by things, because some of them won't play on certain things, the MKV files can be some of them will have multiple different subtitles, so you can go from English to French or Spanish or something like that. It's one of the preferred formats on a computer, and when downloading shit, it just doesn't always translate as well to a PlayStation.
But I thought it was cool that my PS4 would let me completely customize the subtitles.
That is actually pretty dope. So, Kenneth, what are reasons that you actually like anime?
Okay, so do we want to stick with, your quote-unquote mainstream anime, or do you want me to just go out on all anime?
Go out on your feelings on anime. Really let loose. Really put it right on the face.
Okay, when it comes to anime, I prefer the most violence and the most nudity as possible. That is, I mean, because when you're watching these and things like that, there are some of them out there that are just, and as much nudity and as much violence as I want in an anime, there are some of them out there where I'm just like, okay, this is a little too much. Because there are some of them out there that are just fucking brutal. But, just sticking with anime before you get into gore tie and hentai and all that stuff, just sticking with anime, I like the ones that are really, really violent. I'm not a big fan of Sailor Moon or any of the rest of that. I'm not a big fan of, even though you've tried to get me into Gundam, I'm not a big fan of Gundam. It ain't my thing. I absolutely fucking hate Bleach.
Bleach is goddamn awful. I'll give anything like a full season try. And after a full season, I'm either in or I'm out. And at the end of Bleach, I was just like, y'all wasted so much of my fucking time.
Right. I fucking hate that show. I do not understand why people like it. But then again, on the other hand, I mean, there are other mainstream animes that I really, really dig. Like, I fucking love Dragon Ball Z. Yes, that's right.
I think it's because we grew up on Dragon Ball Z, because I went back and watched it, and if I took nostalgia out of it, some of those storylines are just so fucking lazy.
That's true. But yes, people out there who are listening heard it right. Silent Hill Biker is a nerd for Dragon Ball Z. But
he's a nerd for balls also.
Yeah. But I like Dragon Ball Z. I like, I've watched a few episodes of Naruto, and some of it is okay. What's one of the other big ones?
Like, how are you going to be a ninja and wear bright hunter orange? The fuck does that make sense? Have you ever
seen American Ninja 4?
No. Does it have Chuck Norris in it?
No, it doesn't have Chuck Norris in it, but it does have ninjas in yellow, orange.
What is this? 3 ninjas
red.
kick back? Jesus Christ.
You just gotta watch it. It's cool. But what's the other big one? The other big one that's on TV that everybody goes ape shit for.
Currently it's One Punch Man, but I haven't watched any of that.
I dig the Airbender ones.
Oh, Avatar. Well, that's American. It's not.
But no, what's the other one? The other big one, blonde kid with a fucking ponytail, runs around.
Oh, Full Metal Alchemist.
That one. I dig Full Metal Alchemist. That one's pretty cool to watch. And then when you get into the movies, man, fucking one of the biggest ones of all time, fucking Ninja Scroll.
I knew you were going to say that.
Amazing. Ninja Scroll was fucking amazing. You know, I mean, there's nothing but violence and fucking nudity all through that. And then the Ninja Resurrection series that came out that's got the same kind of feel as Ninja Scroll, that was fucking awesome. Those were amazing. Same thing. I mean, when you see a guy that's fucking whooping somebody else's ass with his own guts, I mean, how can you go wrong with that? And then one of the biggest pivotal fucking animes to ever come out was fucking Vampire Hunter D.
And you know me, I'm a big fan of Vampire Hunter D. In fact, the guy who wrote Vampire Hunter D is the guy who wrote Wicked City. It's based off another series of books that he did. And it was based off the first book in the series he did. So, obviously,
I mean, and
that's why I like it.
Yeah, and then there are other, like, the fantasy type ones. I dig some of the fantasy type ones. Like, the Record of Lodoss Wars, I fucking love those. And that might as well be fucking Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But I love those. And then what's that one that you really, really fucking like watching?
Berserk.
Yeah.
Berserk.
I still need to check that out.
Okay, here's the thing. And you can watch all of Berserk on YouTube. There's like a high definition version of Berserk, English dub on YouTube, and it's fantastic. I fucking love Berserk. If you want like one of the best mangas ever written that's still ongoing, you gotta watch it. You gotta read the manga, and it has some of the most fucked up like shit ever. Berserk is like a medieval series, and if you like medieval battles and you like sword fights and you like really, really dark shit, Berserk is for you. Whether you read the manga, watch the original anime, which was like one season of 25 episodes, you watch the 3 movies, which are a retelling of that first series, or you watch the new anime that honestly looks terrible, but the story's still good. Berserk is fucking fantastic. And I also like some of the cyberpunk stuff, like Ghost in the Shell is one of my all-time favorite series in the world. You've got
Akira.
Akira's fantastic. I made JP watch Akira. I love Akira. And then some of the other ones, you got like Trigun and Cowboy Bebop.
No, I'm not a big fan of either one of those, but to each their own.
I think Trigun, did you finish all of Trigun, or did you only get like 6-8 episodes in?
Yeah, I didn't dig it at all.
Yeah, because like I feel like Trigun has a like huge tone shift in the middle of the series.
I liked Afro Samurai.
Afro Samurai is pretty fun. I do like the Gundam series because I like war politics, and you get a lot of war politics in some of the Gundams. Some are just like pure love stories, and some have like war politics, like 08th MS Team and Gundam 00, shit like that. But there is stuff in anime for you. There are very serious movies. If you like if you're like Kenneth and you want violence and nudity, you've got Twilight of the Dark Master. You've got Biohunter.
Bible Black.
Bible Black is a hentai, sir. That
It's
doesn't
still
count.
good though.
Next you're gonna be like,
It's
I
still
also
good.
like La Blue Girl. Because ninjas who use sex as their way of fighting is the only true mastery.
You know, when it really comes down to it, if I look back on it, the Blue Girl is too tame for me.
La Blue Girl's too tame for you.
It really is. I mean, if we start getting into hentai and stuff, that's just too tame for me. I like the tentacles and the demons and all that shit. That's my thing.
And then we have like one of my favorite, most goddamn depressing series ever made, Neon Genesis Evangelion. I was watching some of it today, and I was like telling Kenneth I'm about to just go kill myself instead of recording because there's obviously no reason to live life. But I absolutely
like I was telling you when you were saying that, you know, that's one of the issues that I think a lot of things that come out of Japan have. And I'm not just talking about anime. I'm talking about movies too.
Yeah, they have a whole goddamn forest for suicide.
Right. I mean, some of these movies, and I watched that movie too, and I actually enjoyed it.
The forest?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. But the thing about it was, man, and I mean, the thing about it is when you're watching some of this shit, I mean, it's just like, come on, people. I mean, I don't want to, at the end of the movie, I want to feel bad about the person in the movie killing themselves. I don't want to do it myself.
Yeah, then Evangelion will just sit there and make you go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. Game over.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get back into that series, but, it's just so long and so drawn out, and it's like, that's the reason why I'm really considering getting on Dragon Ball Z Kai, because it's been shortened.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Kai is actually a better way to go through it. And then if you're going to do Evangelion, you can do the Rebuild series, which the first 3 movies are out, and the 4th one, which is supposed to be the last one, got postponed because Hideki Anno, who's the creator of Evangelion, had to go do Shin Godzilla.
Good stuff.
So,
Shin Godzilla was fucking amazing.
We should do a whole series called America Fucks Japan, and we just take either Japanese, we take American remakes of Japanese movies, or movies like fucking The Forest that take a huge Japanese thing and turn it American.
Yeah, we can talk about the ones that are actually good and the ones that really, really suck.
Yeah, we can. Oh, dude, it'd be great. We can do and almost like a horror coliseum where we do the Japanese version of the film and the American version of the film and compare them.
Well, then you got those ones that are shot for shot.
Have we had an American remake of a Japanese movie that's shot for shot?
Yeah, the ones that are done by the Japanese guy that did the Japanese version.
Oh, because the guy who did The Grudge, he did the American remake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was genius.
And it's damn near shot for shot, the same fucking movie.
Yeah, because I want to compare, Pulse to Cairo really bad.
I think the one for The Ring would be pretty cool to do, too.
Yeah, I want to do that one also. We can call Dave Z in. He's all about those fucking Grudge and The Ring and shit. Ringo!
Yeah, sometimes I actually prefer the Japanese movie.
I think generally most people are going to, but it'd be interesting to see, if we would be, completely pass on the American, it's watchable, it does its own thing, or if it got better than the original.
I guess that'd be one of those things, so we'd have to find out. But then again, you got your other animes that come out that aren't all fucking... that have a really, really good story to them, and they're not all slap full of violence like what I like. Princess Mononoke was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, a lot of your Studio Ghibli films are going to be fantastic. Some of them are a little bit more kid-friendly.
What was the other one? The other one that was really good?
Spirited Away.
Yeah, that one. That one was pretty good, too, man. I actually enjoyed that. And there was another one that came out that was really, really popular. Was it Rocket Boy or something?
Rocket Boy? Fuck are you talking about?
Something like that. It was kind of popular. It was a lot more kid friendly though, but that one was pretty good.
Talking about Astro Boy, the old anime? Or are you talking about
that?
Something
may be
new?
it.
I mean, Astro Boy was straight up black and white anime.
I can't remember.
But yeah, nonetheless, there are good things in anime, and we're just saying don't throw it aside just because of the pre-thought notions you have towards it, because there is something in there for you to watch.
Right. Just because it's animated doesn't mean anything. And in the anime genre has every other genre inside of it.
Yes, and if you like Japanese horror movies, then there are some Japanese animes for you, straight up. I know the American live action Death Note just came on Netflix, which I can't wait to watch, because I'm a huge fan of the director, and even though it's getting a lot of bad reviews, I'm more not worried about how he did the story, but how he directed it. I'm more interested in how he filmed, because he's doing Godzilla vs. King Kong. So
interesting. I still need to watch that new Kong movie.
Really good, but Death Note is a fantastic manga. It's a decent anime, and the 2 Japanese live action movies, which were directed by the same guy who did Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, All Out Monster Attack. He did the Gamera trilogy from the 90s. He was the special effects director for Shin Godzilla. Those 2 live action Japanese Death Note movies are fucking amazing. I love those 2 movies. So I'll be very interested where they take this, because I really do like Death Note. So if you like comics and you like horror, there is some great manga I can show you. If you like a horror Japanese movie, there's some great anime we can show you. And we're hoping tonight that you do check out the 2 we go. And I say we get into Wicked City.
Let's do it.
All right, so Wicked City, also known as Supernatural Beast City, from 1987 is a Japanese neo-noir horror film produced by Madhouse, which is one of the better studios over there. It's based on the Blackguard series, which is 6 novels by Hideki... Okay. I'm terrible with Japanese names, so let me butcher this for all of y'all. Hideyuki Kikuchi, who is the same director, or not same director, but the same guy who wrote like Vampire Hunter D. Those are his books. And this is also him directing it. And it is... I'm not directing. What the fuck am I talking about? This is why I can't do Japanese games, because that makes them all up. This is the first directorial debut of Yoshiaki Kawajiri, who also wrote this. He also wrote the story. He wrote the screenplay. So in this, we have Taki, who is a blackguard, which I guess is like Japan's version of MIB, but they deal with this alternative dimension called the Black World. And humans of Black World people have coexisted by staying the fuck away from each other. But there's radicals in the Black World that want to come over and take over the world. And there is a big peace treaty signing coming up. And Taki, the Blackguard, along with a Black World Blackguard female named Maki, have to bodyguard Giuseppe Maillard, who is an old, perverted dude who I think Kenneth wants to grow up to be.
Hey, why not?
He's old, he's perverted, and he's very important. He's a very important motherfucker, apparently. And this movie starts off with Taki at a bar, betting the bartender over what chicks he gets to bang. And he hooks up with this chick named Kanako, who turns out to be a fucking spider lady from the Black World, who he banged, and then she turned into a spider and her vagina tried to eat his dick.
Yay!
So right off the back, you're starting off with fucking Cronenberg-like body horror with a Japanese flip. Instead of a stomach vagina, you get a spider mouth vagina.
Yeah, and she was wicked looking too.
Yeah, that shit was fucking great. I remember when I first saw this, because I saw this when I was, I don't know, like 6th grade.
Yeah, I was pretty young when I saw it.
The 6th grade, we rented the VHS tape. Because it's anime, it's for kids. No one ever looks at that. And it was fucking balling as shit. It fucked me up. So
that reminds me, did I tell you about when I was in Ollie's and I was buying the Hellraiser comics? Did I tell you about what I said to the lady behind the counter?
Oh yeah, that these shouldn't be with the kids' books.
Yeah, they have all the Hellraiser, all the comics, all the graphic novels with the kids' books, and I went up there and I opened up the inside of it and I was like, now, granted, this is a great comic book. I was like, I don't think you should be letting kids look at this.
No, fuck that. Put it right next to the Minecraft books.
Yeah, so, I mean, you got nudity and you got people walking around and they're nothing but muscle and shit like that and blood and guts. I was like, yeah, this probably ain't a good idea.
Yeah, for real. So, after this, we find out Maki is apparently an electronic salesman or some shit at his cover-up job, which I'm like, Japan, why do you have to give him a cover-up job? He's already a goddamn secret agent. The fuck does he need a cover-up job for? Like, you actually have him at a desk answering calls.
Well, I mean, they got to cover up everything, man. I mean, the common public, we can't know about aliens and demon worlds and all kinds of other shit. You know what I'm saying? We're just sheep.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't understand why he has a salaryman job if he's goddamn fucking the demon version of Men in Black. So, yeah, I don't know. But, so basically we get into the meat of the story, which is the treaty is about to be signed. It got pushed forward because some radicals from the Dark World are coming over and fucking shit up.
Did you explain the treaty?
So the treaty is basically everyone getting together and being like, we're not going to fuck with each other.
Yeah.
And later on, we get some more detail in it. But for right now, it's literally we're gonna get the Black World, Earth are gonna get together and say we're not gonna fuck this shit up. And man, I would love another movie where we got to see more of what's in the Black World.
I agree.
Like, I actually want to read the books, but I think only the first 3 ever came out here. Just to see if I can get a little bit more into this Black World. So, basically, every 500 years, the treaty has to be signed. Or no, this new treaty is going to push it to where it won't have to be signed, but every 500 years. So I have a much longer way to go through it. So he's got to go pick up Giuseppe Maillard. And as he arrives to the airport, some blackguards show up, and we get a great fight, which, when we get to see the blackguards, like, fight the radicals, is fantastic. You've got a guy whose chest burst open, and his ribcage basically become teeth, which is going to be the name of my new band, Ribcage Become Teeth. So everyone can fucking get on that. You get that kind of shit. You got the guy who gets his head, like, shot off, but then it, like, straight up pulls a John Carpenter's The Thing and grows tentacle and starts, like, fucking walking towards him.
Yeah, that's what I thought about when I was watching that scene. I was like, this reminds me of The Thing.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing. I was just like, Jesus Christ, yes, I want more of this. Because, like, they've got just tentacles coming out of them and shit. Fantastic. And then we get our beautiful, beautiful Black World lady, Maki, who shows up, and her fingernails, which are bright and red and beautiful, can grow out and apparently are as strong and as sharp as the, like, greatest sword out there. Because she fucks them up.
Yeah, she was pretty hot, too.
Yes, she is very hot. She gets hotter even later on. To make all of us feel weird. So, they go inside the airport now that they've beaten all these motherfuckers, and they're waiting for Giuseppe Maillard to show up, and the airplane that he's supposed to be on blows the fuck up. And you're like, okay, roll credits, we're done. But no, Giuseppe Maillard knew this shit was going to happen, like some Final Destination shit, and took an earlier flight. Now we meet Giuseppe Maillard. He is an old-looking dude whose forehead looks like it's made out of wood. And
I always thought that it looked like horns were about to burst through his skin.
yeah, literally it does. Like, but it just the way that, like, it has those circles around those 2 bumps. It always reminded me of wood.
Like knot holes?
Yeah, exactly, like knot holes. And we meet Giuseppe Maillard, and this dude is literally the most perverted dude ever. He immediately is trying to have sex with Maki and is telling Taki about how sex with a Black World woman is like paradise and how good their pussy tastes and shit. It is.
It's so good that it sucks the life out of you.
Yeah, and I'm over here just like, well, Taki knows. He already banged a Black World chick. But
Yeah,
and
so
that made me...
I'd be down.
Yeah, well, that made me think that maybe the Black World chick did not have a... was not giving... Like, maybe he didn't get the full experience because she was holding back because she was trying to pretend to be human. Like, if you have sex straight up with a Black World lady who, like, lets all the Black World shit happen, maybe then it's like that fuck till you die thing.
Maybe, I don't know, but it still sounds like fun.
Yeah, this is what we consider fun on Kill the Cast. Fucking till you die. So,
if it's that good that it kills me, there's got to be something awesome about it.
that is very true. Oh, also, by the way, Maki has a cover job in here also, and it's that she is a model, which I think is fucking hilarious because Men in Black 2 straight up stole this. Because the chick who shows up in Men in Black 2, she also... Or is it Men in Black 3? Which one's the one that had Johnny Knoxville?
I don't remember.
Well, anyway, the one that had Johnny Knoxville, the main villain, that chick, she says her job on Earth is to be a model. And they stole that from this. I just wanted to point that out. So,
Well, it kind of makes me wonder, when did this come out?
1987.
It kind of makes me wonder if they didn't steal that whole scene of the head walking across the ground from John Carpenter.
Maybe. I'd have to see when dude wrote the novels. Because this is based off the first novel.
I have to check it out because it may be the other way around. You never know. Because
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that looked too much exactly like. Okay.
Yeah, because
so,
even the eyeballs come out.
yeah,
And they're on like planks, except these eyeballs have fucking mouths.
Yeah, but still, I mean, the similarities between the two of them are just uncanny. I mean, the head is walking, and the head is not straight up on either one. I think was the head upside down in Wicked City?
I don't remember, but I don't think it was.
I think it was sideways. It wasn't
Yeah.
straight up and down. And then you got the head was upside down in the Thing, and then you got the eyeballs coming out of the tentacles and looking around. So and then the other tentacles that it's walking on to make it look like spider legs. So it's kind of really similar, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I'd love to put a side by side on those two.
Yeah. You should do that when we get done and then post it.
Yeah, for real. I'm lazy though. So they go to this hotel where they have psychic barriers up. It's supposed to be safe. Giuseppe Maiart wants to go to a bathhouse so he can bang some broads. They won't let him, so now he's going to continue to keep trying to bang Maki.
What did you think about the hotel, though? I thought the hotel was cool because it was like this little like mansion-looking thing, and it was completely surrounded by fucking skyscrapers.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the aesthetic of it was pretty boss. I loved it. And I love this guy that's running the hotel because he's just down there and he's like playing chess with Taki, and you don't suspect anything from him, but as soon as they like the radicals start breaking through the radical barrier, this motherfucker just drops a chain knife whip out of his fucking sleeve.
Everybody's got to be a badass in Japan, dude.
Apparently, because he came by out swinging, but unfortunately the radicals kind of beat their asses. Taki gets shoved into a wall, and Hotel Dude loses his arm, but luckily it was his fake arm.
Yeah, he lost his prosthetic.
Yeah, exactly, and I was just like, okay. But the guy who's here from the Black World, the Radical, his name is Jin, and he has Banshee-like powers because he can apparently scream like an 80s hair metal band to put you on your fucking knees.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, and Jin is a Black World Radical, which is apparently the same as being like a nationalist. He basically believes that the human race are nothing. The Black World race is far superior, and they deserve to have everything. So he goes, after he beats their asses, he goes up and starts fucking with Maki, and turns out Maki and him used to be a thing. Which is funny because later on we find out that the head of the Black Radicals, Mr. Shadow, also was banging Maki. Maki was banging all the terrorists, is what I've learned.
Slut. She was a slut.
Yeah, she is just fucking up. But she uses her hair, because Jin is all like going down on her, and she uses her hair to fucking grab him. And Taki shows up just in time to blow him away. And Maiart, who was hiding in the bathroom, ran away. Now, Kenneth, one guess as to where Maiart ran away to.
Oh, yeah, we know where he went.
He went
Same
to
place
that
I would've
goddamn
went.
bathhouse. And while he's there getting rubbed down by a new chick and sucking on a titty, he apparently swallows something and decides that it's okay to keep going. But I'm sorry, Kenneth, if you're sucking on a titty, okay, and you feel like you swallowed something, are you telling me you're going to keep going?
Oh, no. But see, that's the thing about it. I mean, when I'm sucking on a titty, I don't try to put the whole titty in my mouth like he did.
That's true, but like if I'm sucking on a soda and ice comes through the straw, I get all paranoid.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
So I'm like, fuck this nonsense. I'm fucking out.
No, it would have been finger down the throat. Like, we're finna find out what this is.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing that. So but he continues his rub down, and apparently his dick is huge. Because old chick is like, wow, holy shit, you're healthy. And I was like, great, I definitely want to know that this old dude has a huge dick.
Yeah, well, I imagine that prostitutes say that to everybody. I would imagine, especially in that situation, for what's coming.
Yeah.
I imagine that she'd probably say anything. I mean, it'd be the same thing to me. I mean, if I'm paying somebody enough money, I mean, shit, they'd probably tell me that my dick is huge, and we definitely know that's not the case.
That's true. Like, if I'm paying you fucking money, you better be telling me I have a big dick.
Exactly. Like what I was telling you the other day about that chick that I looked up. It was like $5,000 for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm sorry. You need to edit that out.
Oh my god, that's staying. Holy shit. We were doing research for the movie to find out how much she would cost. Yeah, that's what we were doing.
No, but all bullshit aside, like shit you see on TV or whatever else, them high dollar hookers, man. If I'm paying that kind of money,
yeah. If I'm paying
my shit, you better tell me my shit is hurting you and it's ripping.
Yeah, if I'm paying you Charlie Sheen money, you better be pushing your stomach out when I go in to make me feel like my dick's sitting there. Okay?
Yeah, when you're going down on me, you better make me feel like that I'm pulling your teeth out.
Yeah. I better hear gagging noises, or I swear to fucking God, I want a refund.
Yeah, you earn that money. And it'd be the same way the other way around. If it were me and somebody were paying me that much money, which we know that'll never happen, but if somebody were paying me that much money, oh yeah.
Well,
I'd tell the dude he had a big dick.
I mean, it would cost a lot for me to give up the ass, but like, to suck a dick, I think I'd suck a dick for like $500,000, easy.
Dude, you suck a dick for $5.
God damn it! I told Dave Z not to fucking tell anyone, and he's got to run his fucking mouth constantly.
He does have a big mouth.
God, wait, what? Anyway, back on this Cronenberg shit. Her boobs just kind of start melting on him, and he starts getting sucked into her body. And
I actually really, really liked that scene.
I
it really
did
cool.
too. I thought, like, because here's the thing: if you're going to have like gratuitous nudity, I still prefer it to have a fucking reason. And I know Kenneth is like, fuck that, just do the whole movie naked. I don't understand why when I'm watching the Avengers, Scarlett Johansson is wearing clothes. It makes no sense to me. These are words Kenneth has said to me.
Exactly. I see that on just about anything. I mean, shit, When they made Waiting, I don't understand why everybody had clothes on. I mean, it'd been awesome to see Ryan Reynolds completely naked.
I, oddly enough, agree.
Right? That's a sexy man.
That is a sexy man. I would have a threesome with him and his wife, like, in a second. Him and Blake Lively?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to ask you who he's married to. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Woo, son. Sign me to fuck up.
Those are some very beautiful people there.
I will fuck her while he fucks me. It'll be
very
fantastic.
Beautiful people.
Yeah. Anyway, what were we saying? Oh, yeah, Taki and Maki then show up, and they save him. And My Art of Quartz ends up spitting out a parasite as they're running away to take him to the Psychic Research Center. But they get caught in some time-space continuum. It's like
demon limbo, kind of like.
Yeah, it's like a black world limbo brought upon this Earth. And to where no matter how far they kept driving, it would just keep repeating the same stretch of road, basically. And Giuseppe Meyart spits out this parasite that then turns into a giant tentacle snake, which then starts grabbing Maki and deep-throating her.
Yeah, then it gets to the shit that I like.
When that deep-throating started, like, it fucking deep-throats her. Like, not like what you see on the internet where you're like, damn, that bitch took it. I mean, it is face-fucking her, like, down to her goddamn belly button. It is vicious.
Yeah, you see her sternum swelling.
Yeah, it is.
And I know
brutal.
that it's not technically possible for a sternum to swell. That's exactly why I said it.
She's a Black World lady. We don't know what they actually look like, because each version we see is either human or, like, human spider lady, or later on we see the guy who basically turns into the Rock version of the Guyver.
Yeah, but then there's that one scene where, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Giuseppe. He makes the comment that, wondering about what she looks like, underneath. Her real form looks like.
Yeah, and I think at one point Jin says something to her about wearing that bodysuit or something.
Yeah, so I'm that kind of goes back to what you said earlier about what it would be like to see more of their world. I would like to see what these things really look like.
Yeah, I agree with you. She uses the power of her titty to break the space-time continuum where they're trapped in somehow. And at the same time, this blue beam of light comes down and strikes the tentacle snake raper. And we assumed at the time, we're assuming that maybe it was when she break the space-time continuum, she used her titty power to bring down this blue electricity. And Taki thinks Maki is dead, so he takes her to the center, and the radicals show up to attack, but they can't attack because apparently they should have just taken him to the center in the first place, because this place has been defending against radicals for fucking centuries.
Right.
They have psychic barriers that are not to be fucked with, but Mr. Shadow is able to get a circle TV screen to just kind of float in there. And we get to see Maki getting gang raped. Which, I mean, after the tentacle mouth fucking, I guess...
I was actually kind of disappointed in that scene.
What, the gang rape?
Yeah.
I liked it because they kind of kept it kind of artful.
Fuck that.
I liked it a lot, actually. So, with this gang rape scene, we have Mr. Shadow, who's the leader of the radicals, basically saying, Taki, if you want her to live, you gotta come save her. You gotta come to me and save her. And Myart's like, no, absolutely fucking not. You're not leaving here. You're to protect me. I'm the most important fucking person on the planet. Fuck y'all know what I mean. And he's like, Taki's like, well, I'm going. And so Myart's like, I will fucking piss on you while listening to R. Kelly if you go. And Taki's like, fuck that shit, I'm out. And he goes. So he shows up where she's getting gang raped, and she is for sure getting it filled in all three holes. No fucking doubt about it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. And Mr. Shadow is with a chick who wears a red dress, whose earring apparently gives off an aphrodisiac, like, what would you call this? Like an aphrodisiac psychic wave? I guess? Anyway, her stomach pulls a full Cronenberg and becomes a vagina.
Yeah, I mean, that scene, I was just kind of like, how would you get so just enthralled by a giant vagina?
Yeah, like, why are you sitting there going...
Look like that chick at either the feminist or the anti-Trump rally?
Yeah, like, I'm over here literally just like, you're fucking her with the wrong head, Taki.
Exactly. It reminds me of those pictures that you used to see back in the day. You remember those pictures that you saw? That bald dude had his head.
Oh, yeah. I remember that picture. I tried to forget that picture, but here that picture is showing up again. Kenneth, thank you.
You're welcome. That's exactly what it reminds me of.
It really does, but I do love this scene because Taki, before he confessing, because for some reason they want him to confess something, and you're over here like, what, how to break the psychic barrier? You know where fucking Myart is, so it's not like you need to know that. But Taki blows her the fuck away. And then he starts killing everybody. Except for Mr. Shadow, who has blades coming out of his fucking elbows. Which are, like, I was just kind of like, it would have been better to have those blades, like, come out of your wrist or your hand or something. Like, are you just dropping bows on people? Is that literally all you can do here?
Well, aside from take the burnt remnants of the other guys that got shot and cover himself in them like a shell.
Yeah, that was actually really fucking dope. So he does that.
Still got fucked though.
Yeah, because he's Mr. Shadow did get like one hit in. He stabbed Taki in the stomach, but lightning shows up and frees Maki. Once again, this lightning shows up, and now you're like, was that controlled by Maki or not? And Taki also frees himself and blows a fucking hole in Mr. Shadow's mouth. Which, if you're gonna aim for something, aim for the mouth. That's my way.
It's always good to blow in the mouth.
But yeah, this scene's very weird at first. Maki heals Taki, and Taki's like, why do they want to know if we've had sex? Like, this, like, are they just really perverted? Before I kill you, give me your sex history.
Did you fuck her? You fucked her. I know you fucked her. Did you fuck her? Did you?
Mr. Shadow's over here like, well, I fucked her first.
I fucked her twice.
Yeah. So Mr. Shadow is rebuilding himself. Spider Baby is back. And she says the results are what we expected and it's genetic. Which she's talking about the semen that she got from Taki earlier. And then Spider Baby is off to kill them. And Taki and Maki, they're throwing off the case. And My Art talks some shit on them, and they leave. Taki's now hanging out with Maki, and Maki's in this white dress. And Kenneth, how do you feel, because I know you love this part, about long card rides with romantic music and looks?
I felt like that entire scene was just way too goddamn long, and it was just not needed. I mean, you know, they could have had their little conversation that took about 5 seconds instead of this fucking scene taking like 3 to 4 minutes. And if it's something that's terrible and the music is terrible, 3 to 4 minutes is a long ass fucking time.
I agree. I was sitting there like, guys, this is not a music video. We're done. I get it. I get what you're trying to do, trying to show me that these two have feelings for each other and connected. And luckily, Giuseppe Maillard is in the back seat to save us all. But before he can really save us all, they go into a tunnel that's filled with spider webs, and it's Spider Baby again, because that's what I call her now. The tunnel's all webbed up, and man, talk about a one-night stand coming back to haunt you.
I was thinking to myself, did you see where them webs came from?
Yeah, they came from her vagina mouth.
You think all those webs is all the jizz that she's taken in over the years?
Maybe. Or better yet, when he was banging her, is that what he was actually feeling? He wasn't feeling like the insides of a vagina. He was feeling all those webs, all those gooey webs.
It very well could be.
Yeah.
I wonder if that feels good.
Maybe. This is when people are like, anime's so fucking weird. Well, yeah, sometimes it gets a little fucking weird, but if you watch Cronenberg movies, do you really have room to talk?
That's true.
So, Spider Baby, they all fight. Maki jumps to save Taki from being stabbed by Spider Baby, but she ties them up, and now she is just fucking both of them up. She is just like Kute Kinte slashing them, whipping them. It's fucking brutal. But that same blue lightning comes down once again and fries the ever-loving shit out of her. And I love that her legs, like, curved up.
Like a spider?
Yeah, that was fucking great. And from there, we go into this weird dream state where Taki and Maki are nude, and they make love, and they hope they get to stay in this dream state forever. And the whole time I'm sitting there like, so did the dream state just kind of like fix her up from that gang rape she just had? Like,
I guess.
She got deep-throated by a snake tentacle and then gang-banged, and then Taki just jumped all up in that?
Hey, man, maybe in Japan, you know, it's not as...
well, okay, Kenneth,
not as mentally, you know.
Kenneth, a hot chick comes up to you. Let's say, Kenneth, you save a chick who's getting gang-banged. Getting gang raped by 3-4 dudes. Yeah. And she is just like, I'm so thankful you can fuck me right now. Are you gonna fuck her, or are you gonna be like, nah, broad, let's get you a shower or something first? Like, and keep in mind, she's super fucking hot.
You're gonna have to do a little better than just say super fucking hot. You're gonna have to give me an example.
Okay, let's say your dream vision ideal woman, what's that porn star you like? Janine? Janine.
Yes, Janine.
Let's say it's Janine. Janine, you just saved Janine from getting gang raped. She just got gang raped, but she's like, I'm so thankful you can fuck me any way you want, any hole you want. All on you, baby girl.
I'd probably do it because there's really not a whole lot of difference between that and a bukkake.
Fair enough. Okay. There we
Just
go.
saying.
Hey, but I also want to say this, like, because I don't know, this one always stood out for me on both sides. Because on his side, I'm sitting there like, she just got banged by a bunch of dudes. On her side, I'm like, you just got fucking gang raped. You are not mentally, like, I don't think you're mentally sound to be making decisions of sweet, passionate love here. Like, this is, like, that gang rape was, like, maybe 2 hours ago? Maybe?
No, well, see, that's what the comment that I was making a few minutes ago. Maybe, getting gang raped just ain't as psychologically traumatizing as it is in America.
Well,
Fuck, I don't know.
in in Earth world and compared to the Black world, I guess.
That too,
Yeah. So, Mackie is crying, but Black world people apparently can't cry, and then they wake up and they were in a church. So they were fucking in a church. And she says, maybe God brought them there. And my question immediately is, does Black World have their own God? Or are there Black World people that are, like, super into, like, a Jesus God? Or, like, a Muhammad God? Like, that scene in general just made me really go, I can't have a Black World woman just talk about God without explaining which one.
That's a very valid point.
Like, that was super confusing to me. But maybe she was just being poetic. Because, like, there's the argument that, like, if a lyricist at a band uses Christian imagery, that does not mean that he's a Christian. You know?
Yeah.
So it could just be the poetics of it. I am 100% not sure. And she says there's a presence she starts feeling, and Myart shows up. And it turns out the enemy was actually in the statue behind them, in the Virgin Mary statue. Bust out, we've got tentacles that are now attacking, because it's Japan and tentacles, and it's a national pastime. So it turns out Myart is actually there to protect them. This is the big twist in this thing. Okay, here's the big twist. Myart was that blue lightning we kept saying. Myart was protecting them. But the reason it was so important that they thought that they were protecting him is because they had to develop a bond. They had to develop a relationship where love could actually happen. Because apparently they are both a certain type of genetics that will allow for the interbreeding of humanity and the dark world. And that goes back to when like Spider Baby was like, it's genetic. That's what she was talking about. It was 100% they could do it. Tons of research has went into this. And these two getting together, loving each other, and having a child is what the actual treaty is. Which is very, very interesting. It was a good twist. I did not see this twist happen at all. I was like, holy shit, that's actually really cool. I really dug that.
Right.
And then Myart has a fight, and Myart apparently is a badass with his psychic ability. And so it's Myart versus Mr. Shadow again. And I like this whole Mr. Shadow actually sends out his shadow, and Myart gets sucked up into it. Tentacles go into the shadow and start fucking up Myart. Taki ends up shooting Mr. Shadow in the arm, but then he gets trapped in the shadow. Like, the fight scene here is really cool. But it ends up ending. Myart grabs onto his back like Chaozu did to Nappa and just tries to fucking blow him up with all this lightning. And he stabs a fucking cross into his face, which was pretty fucking sweet, in my opinion. So Maki shows up all glowing, comes down floating like a ghost, because apparently she's transformed now that she's pregnant, and annihilates Mr. Shadow. And
turns him into glitter.
Yeah, into fucking Twilight vampire makeup. Myart basically tells him this was all simulated to help them grow a spiritual connection. And Taki he asked Taki if he loves her, and Taki is like, I could grow to love a woman of the black world. And that's the end of the movie. So, with that being said, Kenneth, how do you feel about Wicked City? Would you want to see more of this? Is it worth watching? What do you think?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it's one of those that I watched when I was a teenager, like early teenager, and I really enjoyed it then, and I really enjoy it now. I mean, even though to me, it's a pretty straightforward story. You know, you've got these two worlds, and they've kind of done whatever they can to try to coexist. But you got assholes on one side of it that's trying to fuck that up, and then you got the badasses that are trying to take the people that are trying to protect the person, and then they turn out to be a bigger player in the whole thing, and blah blah blah. The story is pretty straightforward, but the visuals are fucking awesome, and so I really enjoyed it. And I'd love to see more of more things be done with this mythology that they've got going on. Their specific mythology, because like I said, other types of things have been done like this before, but or thereafter, but their specific mythology I'd like to see more of.
I agree. This is one of the early animes I saw. It was one of the darkest I had seen at the time, and I loved it. It's a great action horror anime. If you're into action, you're gonna like it. If you're into like the whole government agent action thing, you're gonna dig it. If you just want to see some dark, fucked up shit, you're gonna dig it. If you just like anime titties and gore, you'll like it. If you want to see monsters, you'll fucking dig it. This is definitely one that I'd highly recommend. I give it a 4 out of 5. I really, really like this movie. If I want to just sit back and watch a popcorn horror anime, this is what I'm putting on. What do you rate this out of 1 through 5?
Probably about the same, about a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, okay. Super, super good. We highly recommend this. And if you want to see more of stories from this guy, the guy who wrote the original story behind this also did Vampire Hunter D, which is also fantastic. But now we have to go from sit back popcorn film to turn on your brain. It's getting psychological. We are going in to Perfect Blue, which is a 1997 psychological thriller. Directed by Satoshi Kon and written by Sadayuki Murai, and is based on the novel Perfect Blue Complete Metamorphosis, written by Yoshikazu Takeuchi. Yeah, there we go. And the novel is actually coming to America for the first time in February 2018. Kenneth and I actually pre-ordered it this morning.
Yep. 20 years after the movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, because this movie did come out pretty early in America. Good. Japan's had the book forever. Anyway, so the director of this film, Satoshi Kon, he is actually known for doing these kind of very psychological movies. The melding of the real world and like a dream world or an alternative reality or another world inside someone's head. He did one of my favorite anime series of all time called Paranoia Agent, which is trippy as shit. He's done a couple other movies. In fact, I'll be watching one soon called Paprika. Reese says it's amazing. She wants me to watch it. He also did some other movies that are held very high, which is Millennium Actress and Tokyo Godfathers. But unfortunately, he is dead. He died a few years ago. Out of nowhere, because he really didn't tell anyone he was dying. It just kind of he kind of kept it to himself because he didn't want people to know. So everyone just kind of one day woke up and was like, bam, he's dead.
That sucks.
Yeah. So in this movie, we follow Mima Kirigo, I don't know if I said that right, who is a member of a Japanese pop idol group called Cham, who decides to retire from music to pursue an acting career. And she ends up becoming a victim of stalking and descends into her first role. She starts to lose perception of like reality and fiction. Now, unlike Wicked City, we are not going to walk through this movie.
There's too fucking much.
Yes. We are just going to talk about some of the stuff we love in this movie and how it works. And with that, I want to say I want to say something first. Kenneth, in our best of the 2000s, you picked a very controversial movie for, was it 2000, 2001? That we had to decide. You and JP both picked this movie. And it was about drugs.
Oh, Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, so how does Perfect Blue tie in with Requiem for a Dream? Do you know?
I'd have to think about it for a minute.
All right, okay. Darren Aronofsky? Aronofsky? How do you say his last name? The guy who directed Requiem for a Dream.
Fuck, I don't know.
All right, anyway, the guy who directed Requiem for a Dream, he bought the U.S. Filming rights to Perfect Blue for $59,000 so that he could use the bath scene from it in Requiem for a Dream. Just that one scene. Where Mima's in the bathtub and her head's underwater and she just screams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in Requiem for a Dream, and he bought the rights for that film so that he could put it in Requiem for a Dream.
That seems like kind of one of those things that's... Because I remember it in Requiem for a Dream now. But it seems like one of those things that'd be pretty... You know, that type of scene would be pretty...
Okay.
I don't see the point in spending $59,000 to do something like that.
I think it was a respect thing. Because unlike some people who steal Japanese anime shit for their movies without like paying any respect or paying anyone, Matrix, I think he wanted to show respect to them. Plus, I think at one point, he wanted to make a movie for Perfect Blue. And he kind of did. He made Black Swan, which is very, very, very fucking similar.
Now that I will agree with you on.
So I think maybe this was his way. He was like, oh, well, I'm going to buy the filming rights for this because I'm going to use it for one scene. And maybe in the back of his head, he was like, that'll make it cheaper for me. And then later on, before everyone finds out about Perfect Blue, I'll be able to do an American remake. That's what I think. I have no actual clue behind it. But... I always thought that was
I think
cool.
it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool if it was done well. I think it'd be cool to do a live action version of this movie.
Yeah, and I think he would be the person to do it, honestly. Like,
yeah, because a lot of people gave Black Swan shit, but that was a good movie.
I thought it was good. I thought it was good. My only problem watching is I just kept going, okay, this is Perfect Blue.
Well, see, the thing about Black Swan that I think people here didn't like is the fact that the trailer made it out to be something completely different.
Yeah, and that's a plaguing problem now in the horror industry.
You know, the trailer made it out to be like, I don't personally think that the trailer made Black Swan look like a horror movie. And then when everybody went and saw it, they realized that Black Swan is a horror movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh my god, this sucks." And I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, "Man, this movie's great."
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good. The whole time I was just like, well, it's Perfect Blue. It's kind of like when you watch something that takes from something else, kind of like if you're looking at, if you had seen Seven Samurai before you saw The Magnificent Seven. Like, you're the whole time just going to be like, yeah, it's Seven Samurai. It's a remake, it just changed the name and changed the setting.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll have to go back and I haven't watched Black Swan since it came out, so I'll have to go back and watch it again. And the same thing with those two. By the way, I watched The Hateful Eight. That was pretty good.
I haven't seen that yet. I need to. Yeah. So basically, as Mammy, what's her fucking name? Mima. So Mima's gonna transition from being a pop idol. Now, in Japan, pop idols are fucking huge. And unlike in Japan, or unlike in America, where our pop singers are usually idolized by women, in Japan, pop idols are actually very big for guys. The nerds over there get really, really into it. And you see that a lot in this movie. There's this 3 set of nerds who are always going around and talking about Mima and what she's doing. And every time they talk about her, there's another guy around who's the stalker in the movie who's always overhearing them.
And see, that's one of the things that I really, really dig about this movie is because you get to see the descent into madness of 3 different characters.
Well, no, 2 characters, and one character you just find out is fucking mad at the end.
No, because if you really, really watch
because after okay, so what we're talking about, okay, here's the end. This is the big end. This is the spoiler for everyone who hasn't seen the movie. Throughout the movie, there is a website called, I keep wanting to call her Mommy. It's not fucking Mommy, Jerry. Jesus Christ. Mima's Room is a website where, quote unquote, Mima writes blog entries to all of her fans. Throughout the movie, it's actually set up to where you think this guy, the stalker, is the one writing all of them. And he's writing it to himself. And then it turns out at the end of the movie, it's not fucking him. It's her. It's one of her fucking agents. It's what's her fucking name? Rumi. It's Rumi. She's the one that's actually writing the website and writing towards the stalker and getting him to do this shit. And it turns out Rumi thinks that she is the pop idol version of Mima that Mima has now left behind.
Yeah, because she wanted to become an actress.
And there's only 2 things in this movie that reveal that to you. And now, okay, so, and Kenneth and I have talked about this, mostly about Sons of Anarchy, but if you're going to do a reveal, you need to have something for me to look back and go, oh shit, it was right there in front of me. Or some kind of small clues. And to me, there are only 2 clues. And they're both extremely subtle. And after I tell him, Kenneth, maybe you saw a different clue. The first is is Rumi's eyes. Rumi has the same far apart eyes that the stalker has.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me is him showing a sign of mental illness. Because a lot of times mental illness can be completely invisible. And for this, it was almost like them giving us a physical attribute to mental illness. Mm-hmm. And it's showing that their eyes are far apart because they don't see the world like we see the world. And I think that's fantastic. And the other one is probably the first scene that Kenneth was referring to where you would see a psychological breakdown happening more than just what I thought when I watched the movie for the first time. I thought Rumi was just very protective of Mima. But there is a scene that Mima has to film where she is getting gang raped for this TV show. And Rumi starts crying, gets up, and fucking leaves.
I could watch TV in Japan.
Dude, Japan... Okay. The show that Mima is filming is called... What is it called? Double Bind? Yeah, Double Bind. And it's a crime horror thriller. Japan's very big on crime horror. Takashi Miike, what up? And it's basically about the same thing that's actually happening in this movie. A woman who is actually played by Mima is slowly going insane and can't tell the difference between reality and her imagination, her dreams, whatever you want to call it. And she thinks that she's a model. And much like how Mima is now can't tell the difference between her world as an actress and this idol version of herself that keeps popping up as she has delusions of it. And she keeps going in and out of reality and in and out of the exact same shit that's happening on the show. It's really hard to explain. Can you explain it better than me, Kenneth?
It works together really well because what's happening in real time is actually happening in the show itself, just with little differences. The show that she is filming is actually what's happening in her life, and I think that is the reason why her descent into madness started, because she couldn't tell, because everything was so similar between the TV show that she was filming and her real life.
Yeah.
There were so many things that were so similar that she was getting to the point where she couldn't distinguish between reality and her career. She couldn't tell the difference between the two of them. And then looming in the background is her
guilt manifested about
right,
her leaving
guilt.
her pop out of life.
Exactly. You know, because I honestly don't believe this girl ever wanted to be an actress, but for some reason, you know, for some reason her agent or whatever that guy was convinced her into doing it.
Do you think so? I think she wanted to be an actress until she realized what she would have to do and because Cham started getting bigger when she left. And I think there's a lot of like, it's being brave enough to make a choice so far along in a career and then having guilt about leaving those fans behind and then being scared of what you have to do to become that. And I do think one of her agents pressured her more into it, but I do think she wanted to become an actress.
Maybe. I don't think that I think that in the foreground, going to being an actress was the right thing to do because it would probably boosted her career. But in the background, you know, deep down inside, she didn't want to leave the pop thing. I don't think she really did deep down. I just think that, you know, there's always that conflicting thing inside of you where you've got an opportunity in front and then you've got your security in back and what you really enjoy doing. I mean, I've made the same moves in my career and made choices, you know, like going out of the motorcycle industry, you know, to do what's better for me. I in the background, looming in the background, I still to this day regret leaving the motorcycle industry because of so much time and effort that I put into it, going to school and everything like that. But in the foreground, I realized that what I'm doing right now is so much less stressful and I make more money.
Yeah, and having to make those kind of decisions. And in this movie, as the TV show plot progresses, her fucking mental stability snowballs out of control. Right. And you've got these great scenes of where they're filming and it cuts to her waking up. And you're sitting there trying to figure out where reality is and what's not reality as people start actually dying in life. The screenwriter who wrote in that she's going to get gang raped dies. Or the professional photographer who got her to take nude photos for him dies. These people that are pushing her into what's the word? Pushing her into doing more obscene things to further her career. And even the agent justifying it. Oh, everyone has to do this. Everyone has to do this. And then, of course, the male agent, dies. So everyone who does that to her ends up dying.
And the crazy thing is as her real life is snowballing into this descent of the cross between delusion and the crazy shit that's happening in reality, you realize that she has more speaking parts, and her part in this show is getting more and more active as she goes along. Like at the beginning of it, when everything was just starting the show, she just had one line. Yeah,
excuse me, who are you?
What?
That's the line she has. Excuse me, who are you?
Oh yeah. And so, you know, and then it progresses further as she's getting more loopy. She's getting further and further into the show where she's got more speaking parts. She's having to do more things. That one scene where she's sitting in the chair looking, I guess, through the window or the two-way mirror or whatever it is, you know, looking through that area and things like that. I mean, it's just the crazier her life gets, the more she's got to do in the show. And I think that perfectly coincides.
Yeah. And that scene in particular that you just brought up has two versions of it. It has her saying, you know, her lines as if it was all real. I'm Mima. I'm an actress. I'm a pop idol. And then her as the character saying, I'm character's name and I used to be a model. And then bam, jump cut to waking up.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool. So at this point in time, as you're watching the movie, you're actually starting to get confused like she is, because you as the audience is starting to wonder what's real and what isn't.
Yeah,
like what's really going on and what is she just imagining? And I thought that was a really good way to twist it around. And folks, remember, we're talking about an anime.
Yeah, we are talking about, and here's the thing, with a lot of these psychological movies, they sometimes get themselves over too deep. They're over their head, and the ending of it doesn't really make sense. There's a lot of shit left out on the table, and you really don't fully know what the fuck's going on. And halfway through this movie, you start getting really confused as to what's real, what the fuck's happening, and you start thinking, oh, this is going to be like all those other psychological movies that do the exact same thing. No, when this movie ends, it explains everything to you. You know what's going on. You get to look back and go, oh, so this scene was in the real world. This scene was in her head. Like, you get to place all of that, those pins in the map. You get to figure out fucking everything. You know where every road leads. And that's something I give this movie credit for, because a lot of these movies, whether psychologicals or if you jump into the Giallo scene, where you have tons of movies where they, at the end of the movie, when they reveal who the killer is, you're like, that doesn't even fucking make sense. At the end of this movie, everything makes sense.
Well, yeah, and I can really appreciate that. I mean, because, you know, you're going through this spiral of wondering what the fuck's going on, and then all of a sudden it's like, it comes to a halt, and everything's just like, bam, this is what was going on, here it is.
Yeah, when they explain everything to you, you're like, oh, okay, so this, and oh my god, I get it. And that's one of my favorite things about this movie, is because up until they give you the answer, you're confused. You're not calling this movie. I'm sorry. Like, if you didn't watch this movie before you listened to us, you fucked up, because you know what happens. And it's still a really good movie, but you will not call the ending to this movie. You will not. It comes out of nowhere, but there are little subtle hints. So when you go back and watch it, you're like, oh, that and that. Because when I watched it this time for the review, I was confused because it had been a good couple of years since I watched it. And then I remembered who the killer was. And I was like, oh, yeah. Because towards the end of the movie, after the stalker and Mima get into it on the same stage where her gang rape scene was, she hits him in the fucking head with a hammer to escape as he tries to rape her. And we get to hear him talk for the first time, because this entire movie, the stalker's been silent. And then he starts talking, and you're like, oh my god, he's such a fucking nerd.
Right. And I think I think when I said earlier that you watch three characters descend into madness, I meant that for all three of them, because you can see the effect that you don't know that, what's her name? What's the girl's name? The girl that ends up becoming the Rumi. Okay. You don't see Rumi becoming what we find out that she is, but you definitely see the toll that watching this shit, you know, and even if you think it's just because she's overprotective, you're still watching her descend down this road of all this crazy shit that she's having to deal with by watching, you know, her friend, and we later find out her obsession, go through. And so I honestly believe that you're watching three different people's descent into madness in this.
Yeah, I guess with Rumi's, it's just,
it's not as predominant as the other two.
And you don't realize it till the end.
Right. It's not as predominant as the other two, but the madness is there. Yeah. And then at the end of it, we get to find out how fucking thick her madness really was.
Yeah, because in the car ride after she finds Mima, after the nerd attacked her, she puts Mima in the car and she's like, we're going to go to Mima's room. And at first, it doesn't click in your head. You're like, oh, she's going to take her home. No, she takes her to Mima's room. Rumi has made a room that looks exactly like Mima's room that we saw in the very beginning of the movie. It's not the same room. It's a completely different fucking room. And you're like, and when Mima wakes up and she starts realizing that, you're like, oh shit. And then it jump cuts to the male agent being dead and the stalker being dead. And you realize, oh shit, Rumi killed her. Oh shit, Rumi's the one that killed the photographer and put the bloody clothes in Mima's closet to fuck with her.
Yeah, and see, I went back and like, you know how I always watch whatever. Well, I was watching Perfect Blue again just a few minutes ago. It's finished now, but I was watching it again just a few minutes ago, and I realized little things about her room, like the big poster of Cham that was on the wall.
Yep.
At the beginning of the movie, she rolls up the poster and takes it off the wall after she quits the group.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started noticing those little things. And then it's been so long since I had watched Perfect Blue that I couldn't remember who the killer was.
Yeah.
And so when I watched it and it got to that point and she said, we're going to Nima's room, the whole time that scene from when she says that to when she actually gets there, I was thinking about it. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? What does that mean, going to Nima's room?
Yeah, because why would she not just say, we're going, I'm going to take you home?
Right. And the whole time, and I'm like, and then right before the reveal, my memory clicked, and I was like, oh, I remember now.
Yeah, and it's such a good reveal. Mima's looking around the room, seeing that all this shit, and she's like, wait, but my fish are dead, and I took that poster down, and my room is a fucking mess because I've been going out of my mind and working a lot. This isn't my room. And then Rumi steps out, and she's dressed in a red dress that Mima would have wore on stage. And it's great because you get to see, it cuts between seeing Rumi in the dress and seeing the idol version of Mima. As Mima has seen her throughout this entire movie. She's seen that pop idol ghost version following her.
Yeah, I really, really like that too. Like hearing the dual voices and seeing their reflections.
Yes.
You know, the pop idol version and the actual,
Rumi.
The actual Rumi. And then my favorite out of all of it is when they're doing this whole, being chased, and where Nima's being chased by Rumi, and then you see the pop idol version, like ghost-like, just kind of hopping along, like Pepe Le Pew in fucking Looney Tunes.
Yes.
And you see her just popping along, and then you see the reflection of her, which is the reality in the windows of the buildings, and she fucking hauling ass and sweating, just chasing the shit out of fucking Nima. I thought that was great. I was like, that is an amazing, amazing version of that. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's definitely in my top 5 psychological films of all time. I love the reveal. I love the descent into madness because I don't think it goes overboard. I like the pressure of a stalker making it worse on her. I like the pressure of her, like, telling... Because the only person she really confides in that she doesn't understand what's going on is Rumi. And Rumi just kind of keeps pushing it. There's that scene where Rumi comes over for the first time in a long time. And then the next scene is her doing it again. And in Mima's mind, it's just... the same day, and Rumi's like, no, it's not. I was here yesterday, also. And you're just like, oh, shit, that's fucking... holy shit. Like, it's just so well done. The movie is the way it's stacked is done so well. The editing's done so well. That in-chase scene is done so well. The end scene where you get to see Mima going to a mental hospital to bring Rumi flowers. You get to see Rumi looking into a mirror, and Rumi still sees herself as Mima. And then as Mima's leaving, you have 2 nurses going, oh my god, that looks like Mima. Oh no, I'm sure it's just a lookalike. And as Mima gets in the car, she looks at her rearview mirror and she goes, I'm Mima, the real me. And saying that she's good now. She's a famous actress now. She beat this whole psychological escapade, even so much so that she can even come see her friend who thinks that she's still her friend, who still thinks she's fucking Mima.
Right. That we see, because, the second book is supposed to come out like 6 months after we get an American version of the first one.
Oh, shit. I'll read that, too.
Yeah, me too, because that's supposed to be like the first one to come out is supposed to be Perfect Blue, Full Metamorphosis, and then there's a second one that's supposed to come out. Originally, they were supposed to come out November of 2016 and November of 2017 and April of 2018. And now we've got February of 2018 for the first one, so I'll imagine it would probably come out in like June or July.
Maybe, because I mean the first book's been out forever in Japan, obviously.
Right.
So this is
But
the
we get the
American
translated
debut.
version.
Yeah, and I can't wait to check it out because I want to dig deeper into this. I want to see how well it works in the book form and how much deeper we can get into it. So I love this movie. I personally give this movie a 5 out of 5. I think it's one of the greatest movies ever made. I would put this in my like top 5 anime of all time. Even if it was just anime movies, it would probably be my second favorite anime movie ever made, right behind Akira. And Akira maybe edges it out because I have more nostalgia for Akira, but I fucking love Perfect Blue.
Yeah, it was really good. I definitely enjoyed watching it. It really had a good story to it. And even though, it doesn't have my key features that I need in an anime, it was still really good.
Yeah, this is the anime I love to show people who are not into anime, but they're into horror. This is the one I show people that I'm like, hey, you need to check this out. It's actually really good. And I did, and I've been doing this. I did an experiment. So, both Exploding Heads and 22 Shots of Moods and Horror, podcasts that are on the Horrorphilia Network, have Patreons. And each have a tier that if you do that tier, you get to tell them to review a movie. And they'll do a mini review on that movie for 22 Shots is www, what we've been watching. And for Exploding Heads, it's the triple R's, the round robin reviews. Mm-hmm. So I decided to do an experiment. And I said, I knew me, you, and Jay were going to cover this. It turns out it was just me and you, but still. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give Perfect Blue to one from each of these two podcasts for them to review so we can compare how it goes. Now, Moods has never seen it and doesn't even watch anime. And he fucking loved it. He thought it was great. And he's not into anime. He stays away from anime. And I think that's an attestment to how good Perfect Blue is. I also gave it to Brandon on Exploding Heads, but his review has not come out yet. But I know he does watch anime, so I'll be interested to see how he feels when he comes out. But I think he's going to love it also. But the point is, if Moods, Brandon, Kenneth, and I, if you hear these reviews and you still don't want to watch Perfect Blue, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
I agree. Because like we said earlier when we were talking about it, not all anime is the shit that's publicized on TV. It's not shit like fucking that's on Adult Swim and things like that. There's some of them out there that are really, really, really good. And they can be, if they were redone shot for shot live action, Americans would think it's some of the greatest psychological movies that are ever made.
Yes.
And so, I don't, anybody that's listening to this, when you come across anime, don't be discouraged just because it's animated. Because just because it's animated doesn't mean that it's not good.
100%. I think it is one of those things that's like when you see a movie that has a title that just sounds stupid, you're not going to watch it. Or if it has a really terrible cover, you're not going to watch it. Sometimes you're completely right, but then other times you're hurting yourself. But if you wait and listen and someone goes, oh yeah, despite the cover, it was actually really good, then go check it out. And if you've done that with anime, well, this is us telling you, go check it out.
And the thing about it is there are fucking literally thousands to choose from.
Yes.
Thousands. I mean, it's just the thing about it is just finding those out there. Me personally, I stay away from the really, really long series. You know what I'm saying? That's not really my thing. I mean, unless somebody gives me unless somebody's just like, this is really good, you need to check it out. Like I've never watched Berserk before. And, you've told me that I need to check it out, so eventually I will check it out. Yeah. But and some of them, I'm not going to lie, some of those series that comes out, man, are really, in my opinion, are really, really stupid.
Oh, yeah. Reese watches some shit that I'm just like, I would never sit through this. But then some of them are fucking crazy. I just got her one called Serial Experiments Lane, which is like, you know me, I'm really into internet horror. Mm-hmm. And this is like a psychological, like, internet horror. And I've only seen like a little bit of it, so I don't fully know. But it's like this girl who's not little, but she's not like a full blown teenager. She might be like 15 or something. Like gets into this underworld of like a computer scene, and it gets crazy. And then you've also got shit like Elfin Lied, which is about this like chick who apparently has like these invisible arms that will like come out and just slice you to goddamn pieces. That series has nudity and violence for you, Kenneth. More violence than nudity, but there is nudity.
Is there tentacle rape?
No tentacle rape, but there is like people just getting fucking murdered. That was a fantastic series. So I mean, there's tons of shit for you to get into, and it's just a matter of giving it a chance. And I hope one of these movies, whether you want just a cool action horror with some tentacle shit, go check out Wicked City. If you want a deep, psychological, fulfilling movie, check out Perfect Blue. Both of them are great recommendations, and I put them up in the thing. They're both on YouTube. You can check them out, so please do. Do you have anything else to say about Perfect Blue? I feel like I could talk about Perfect Blue for hours, but
No. I mean, I've pretty much said the majority of the main. We both pretty much said the majority of the main key topics, and the only thing that's left is for people out there that have never seen it to go watch it, because if you like psychological shit and you don't watch it, you're missing out.
Yeah,
that's all. You're missing out.
100% agree. So I guess with that, we'll be getting out of here. Check us out on Facebook. Check us. We've got a group page. You can come in and talk with us. We're always doing something cool in there. We have a YouTube channel where we put videos up. We have a Patreon if you want to kind of pick some of the stuff that we're going to be doing. We have, what else do we have? We have other things, right? We have
T-shirts.
We do. We have T-shirts. If you want to get into the HorrorPack, we have a link for that. We have a new T-shirt design that'll be coming very soon. And there was something I was going to bring up, and I do not remember what the fuck it was. So I guess it's not that important. So
I'm starting to feel like we're those guys when you're checking out at GameStop.
Yeah. Well, we put it at the end of the show, so at least like they can just turn it off by this point. They can just be like, "Fuck these dudes." Click.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out all that shit. Links, as always, are in the description. We will see you next time for Kill the Cast, and our message here is don't be afraid of anime. There is some good shit in there.
Yep, and our final message is fuck these dudes.
Yeah, fuck these dudes. Wait, which specific dudes? 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 Wait, which specific dudes?